He is an intentional, innovative, and tech-savvy educator committed to impacting teachers and students. He has proven leadership skills and a strong reputation in Nigeria's education sector. He's a member of the English Language Teachers Association of Nigeria, (ELTAN), and the zonal coordinator of the English Language Teachers Association of Nigeria, Etiosa Education District 3 in Lagos State. Presently, he is the creative director and team lead at Everything Literature Ltd, an edtech organization dedicated to developing and enhancing learning, creativity, and innovation. His areas of expertise include teaching and education, learning and creativity development, educational management. So, fun fact about him, he has very sharp eyes and ears, literally. Okay, he also believes that physics and literature have some things in common. So he's very interested in astrophysics. I think that has to do with stars and heavenly bodies, something like that. So he's very interested in those in physics. Yeah. So before he comes up, please, I want us to have a pen and a paper, or a notepad to take down notes as we listen, because it's going to be an impactful session. And if you have questions or contributions while he's speaking, you can drop it in the chat section, or raise a hand. Thank you very much. Mr. Olamide, you're welcome. You can take over now.
So a lovely evening to you, everyone, and such a pleasure. Finally, I have to be dragged into this scene. Thank you so much, Precious. Thank you so much, Miss Tiamiu and Mrs. CJ and everyone on board. Just as it has been rightly said, my name is Olamide Popoola, and it's a privilege to be here to speak on this topic, the teacher as a leader, essence of a value system. Just as it has been rightly said by our host, I am the team lead and also the creative director at Everything Literature. Aside that, I work with Lagos State Ministry of Education and TESCOM, to be precise, and I consult with some private schools here and there. So the topic given to me is on the teacher as a leader, essence of a value system. So the teacher as a leader, I believe it's going to be a series. Possibly that was not mentioned by Precious. It's going to be a series in part of our series, The Teacher as a Leader, and specifically, it's a great privilege for me to be the one who is going to start it. So the focus for today's presentation will be on essence of a value system. So without taking too much of our time, who is a teacher? We're going to look at that. Who is a leader? What do we mean by value system? So these are the three core areas that we're going to look at. And last but not the least, we're going to look at strategies that teachers can, use in instilling the right value system in their learners. So it's a bit of, I believe some of us who have education as our background, like maybe we did full education, we would have done something called psychology of education, kind of. Because I had education English for my first degree and literature for my second degree. So if we are to take a look at it, who is a teacher? And I wouldn't want to take too much time. I would have loved us to, get to hear opinions on that. But let me just work with the definitions that I have here. I believe we can see my screen. So when we check on Google or maybe a dictionary or whatever it may be, we see this. A teacher is someone who teaches, especially one whose occupation is to instruct. So that's the very first definition we get for a teacher. When I check further, I notice on careerexplorer.com, I love the definitions. These are not really hard to get definitions. When we type them, we can just get to see them. So a teacher serves as a guide, mentor, and facilitator in the learning journey of students. So I love this when I saw it, because it kind of pick on some certain keywords such as guide, such as mentor, such as facilitator, and it's going to be very important in the course of our conversation this evening. And the next part of it is, I I saw this on teachment.com. It says a teacher is a teaching professional who is meant to help the students to gain knowledge, competence, and virtue. So I love the last word being mentioned in that definition, which is virtue. And it kind of resonates with what we'll be talking about today, which is on value system. Okay, so if we take a look at the definitions that we've been able to work around, so we notice that teaching or being a teacher is an occupation. So as an occupation, it has to do with you being a guide, you being a mentor, you being a facilitator. And in what aspect? Is it in an engineering firm? Nope. It has to do in a learning journey. So that means you have students to impact. You have students to help. And what do you want to help them do? You want to help them gain knowledge. You want to help them gain competence in a particular field or skill. And you want to help them gather or harness the right virtue. I hope you can hear me, please. If you can hear me, kindly confirm. I don't want to believe I'm speaking to myself. Precious, can you still hear me?
I can hear you, sir.
Oh, great. Okay, so with that being said, we move to who is a leader. So over time, growing up, I read different books by different scholars, leaders, thought leaders, so to say. But I just want us to work with these two definitions. One, I got it from chieflearningofficers.com. It says a leader is someone, that could be you, that could be me, that could be anybody, okay? But it has to do with someone who does more than just lead people, okay? So that means, number one, a leader has to know that he is to lead people, okay? But beyond that, a leader has to be driven by the right motivation and make a positive impact on people around them. So it has to do with motivation and the positive impact. So you having the right motivation to do something, that's one of the things that makes you a leader. Then you having to make a positive impact, that makes you a leader as well. So that goes beyond just leading people, like, oh, let's go there, that kind of thing. Then the second definition, I kind of paraphrase John Maxwell, because I have been opportune to read different books by John Maxwell. My favorite happens to be the 360-degree leader, of which he mentions some 5 levels of leaders in that book. But he says a leader is someone who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. And with that, it has to a key word in the definition of leader or who a leader is by John Maxwell and some top what's it called, thought leaders around the world is the key word influence. So they believe that you are a leader because you have the right influence and you are influencing in the right way. Okay, so with that being said, we need to connect the dots. A teacher being a leader, so that means a teacher is someone who instructs, who wants to instill values, who wants to instill knowledge, who wants to instill competence. And if they're going to do this, they need to have the right motivation. They need to make the positive impact. Then they need to do this in the right way. And that is where the connection comes in. So now let's take a look at value system. Value has to do with the basic and fundamental beliefs that guide or motivate our attitude or actions. I really don't want to work with high, lofty kind of definition, so I've just tried to keep them simple. So if we take a look at system, not our computer system now. Nope. Let's say, what else do we know to be system? But here we're talking about set of principles or procedures according to which something is done. An organized scheme or method. So as teachers, I want us to see system as maybe say a policy of education, policy on education, or say our syllabus. So that's like something that guides us. So you can't just be an English teacher and you want to go teach J1, for instance, and just say, oh, I'm going to teach English. No, there is a target. There is learning objective that we intend that you should be able to achieve by entering that class and all of that. So that's like a system for you to work with, so that you don't just do things out of bored or just do things on your own terms and conditions alone. So that's why we have syllables to work with. So that's the understanding I want us to work with system. So that thing that kind of guides us, okay? And if we combine the two words together, value system, then we can have it as a set of consistent values used for the purpose of ethical and ideological integrity. Now, today's topic is kind of psychological in nature because it doesn't have too much to, it has a lot to do with the classroom, but it has more to do with us as individuals. Okay, so we've looked at value, which has to do with the basic and fundamental beliefs. It's more or less like if you're a Christian, there's a way you believe in God. If you're a Muslim, there's a way you believe in Almighty Allah, that kind of thing. So when it has to do with you, by yourself, for yourself, then we might not call it religion, we can just call it value. Okay, so that thing that you believe that guides you. Okay, so in order to become a good Christian and all that, there are some certain things that you believe that you will do that will make God to be at tone with you or at peace with you. There's a way, even the traditional worshiper, there's a way they do it and they believe that, okay, yes, the God's at peace with us, that kind of thing. So personally, there are some certain things that we hold on to and we believe that, yes, this guides or motivate our attitudes and action. Okay, so with that being said, now core values of a leader or a teacher as a leader, because I really don't want us to take too much time. I want us to have interactive sections together. Now, these are just like 6 that I came across while reading an article, Colombian thought leaders, kind of. So I just thought, instead of working with so many John Maxwell kind of books and all that, why not just work with these? And so these 6, self-awareness, centered around who are you, okay? Because who we are as a person, or who you are as a person, has a lot to do with how you kind of influence the learners, the students under you. How do you see yourself? That's the first thing. And it always comes to me most times that, who am I? How do I see myself? Do I see myself like that ordinary teacher, just go to the classroom teaching English and all of that? Or do I see myself more than that? And that kind of reshaped my orientation. And stylishly, that's part of what we refer to as values, what we believe, those fundamental things. Okay, so our self-awareness has a long way to go in terms of the core values that we should have, that a teacher should have as a leader. We're still going to come back to some of these things because I want us to have interactive section. The next one is focus. What do you want to achieve? There is what the syllabus has given to us to achieve when we go. For instance, you want to go teach now. It's expected that, okay, by the end of this lesson, learners or students should be able to, 1, define it now, 2, say types of noun, mention the types of noun, then 3, identify a noun, possibly in a sentence. So possibly that's the objective for that class. But for you as a person, as a teacher, what do you want to achieve? Not just in terms of the lesson plan now, but you as a person, what drives you? What inspires you? Because these things are part of what we communicate to our learners in terms of helping them see themselves and see themselves on a global landscape, so to say. Then the third one is creativity. Creativity has to do with, as a person, how do you overcome barriers? How do you overcome challenges? Yeah, in most cases, we have challenges that has to do with teaching in the classroom and all that. But beyond that, we have personal issues, relationship matters, and all of that. How do we overcome them? How can we get creative around it? Okay, and something I would like to quickly mention here is that people usually say they get bored, for instance, and I personally, I won't lie, I I don't understand what being bored means, because I don't get bored. You get that kind of thing. And over time, I noticed that, okay, one of the things is that, God helping, I've been able to get creative around my time management and a lot of things. Okay, and yeah, that's just by the side. Then the next one is integrity. Can you be true to yourself? For instance, as a teacher now, how well can your students hold you for your word? Like, okay, my teacher said we are going to have class, that we should come and call her when we are free in our class. And if we go call this teacher, she's still going to attend to us. How well can we be true to that? That's the classroom scenario. But beyond that, as a leader, how well can you be true to yourself? Like, oh, I want to achieve this, and you still stick to it. And you don't kind of default from it, even when it seems as if nobody is seeing you, or nobody is going to hold you to ransom or accountable if you fail to do it. So the next one is perseverance. These are just core values. I don't want to start defining, perseverance according to the dictionary, it means this and that. Perseverance is just, perseverance. And if we take a look at it, it has to do with how do we continue in the face of adversity. There are a lot of things that will always get to discourage us, financially, emotionally, psychologically, things, the unexpected and all that. But how do we still get to persevere? Like, I'm not going to give up on this. Because most of all these things are just values that we develop over time. If you experience a situation now and you kind of say, oh, I can't continue this. I think there's a way they usually say it, then I cannot go and come and kill myself, or that kind of thing. So stylishly, it becomes a kind of value that you can inculcate if you're not careful. Because any small thing you get to say, oh, I cannot go and come and kill myself, that kind of thing, then you give up. The next time again, when you need to push a bit harder, you feel like, oh, I don't think I want to push any further. So how do you continue in the face of adversity? That's another value. Okay? When you are tired to even enter the classroom, how do you still get to say, hey guys, I'm tired. I need your cooperation. I really want to teach you, and that's why I'm here. I want to ensure I'm true to myself, to my words, what I told you. So please, let's just be quiet. This communicates a kind of, I don't know how to put it now. They are not measurable like normal 5 kilograms or whatever we may want on a scale, but they are kind of immeasurable qualities that distinguishes a teacher as a leader. Then the last one is service. What do you want to do with your leadership? What do you want to do with your teaching profession? Do you just want to earn money? Do you just want to be that, Mr. Pankere, Mrs. Pankere kind of teacher to the student? What do you want to do with your leadership? Do you just want to teach and just let it end in the classroom like 8 to 2 o'clock? That is what I'm paid for. I can't do more than that. What do you want to do with your leadership? Do you want to inspire people? Do you want to motivate them? Do you want to impact them? The word impact is used loosely without we really paying attention to it. Am I really making impact? Because for you to make impact, you need to consistently follow up with it. Like, okay, how well? I think there's a way we use it in the education line, which is summative and formative test. You get now. So how well do you follow up, like weekly and termly? Okay, and what do you intend to do with that? So there must be something. Yep, I'm with you, Precious.
You said.
What do you say?
We didn't get the last part of what. We didn't get the last part of what you said. I think it went off at some point.
Oh, really? So can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, so I was just buttressing on the aspect of service. in terms of what do we want to do with our leadership, because we must not just see to read that we are teachers, we must see to read that we are leaders. So it's not just about what do you want to do with your teaching skill or with your teaching profession, but what do you want to do as a leader after you're done teaching? What do you still do, and why are you doing what you do? That's where the service comes in. You get it now? So these are like the 6 core values that I just want to share with us. A lot of them. One of them is humility, but I believe humility can still be subsumed under integrity. One of them is communication. Communication can still be subsumed under integrity. Okay. And vision. Vision can still be subsumed under focus. So we have a lot of them online, but I'm not just trying to pack things online and just say, okay, I want us to just look at the major ones and see to it that how well can we interact with it. So strategies teachers can use to instill essential values in their students. As a teacher, you are the mirror through which the learners see themselves. Okay, so this is not hard to get strategies. These are not hard to get strategies, rather. Number 1, be a role model. Be a role model. Like, I don't know how best we can put it, but I believe when we're having the interactive section, some of us can still communicate it better than I can. So be a friend. What I mean by be a friend, it goes a long way, because these children that we teach, there is actually a level. It's just part of my own value system. Now, let me quickly share what I mean by be a role model. For instance, I let it know to my student that I don't drink. Okay, and I let them know that I'm telling you I don't drink, not because I'm trying to be a religious a kind of over religious person. No, it's not actually because of religion. It has to do with your health. It helps you to maintain this, and they kind of okay. So this is actually beneficial. So that you are actually modeling a role to them. Okay, that is what we mean by being a role model. You should have a role in mind that you want to model to your student. Then another thing is, the teaching profession has been ascribed to be with poverty, kind of like teacher as a lonely teacher and like how much do teachers earn and all of that. I see to read that no, I don't want to look like a poor teacher to my students, whereby they would not be inspired to be a teacher in the nearest future. Because the best way you can model being a teacher to your students is for you to teach well, and at the same time for you to be a teacher that is a leader. So when they see that, oh, you have influence, you're influencing them in the right way, you're motivating them in the right way, why not? I have students who I taught during my teaching practice then, and they later confessed to me, because I still keep in touch with them. They said one of the reasons why they picked where I school and why they picked some of the courses was because of the way I taught them. And I was like, oh, really? And that leads me to the second thing, which is be a friend. Because when I was teaching them back then, whenever we were going out for competitions and all that, I relate to them as a friend. I said, hey, guys, you're in science, I'm just your English teacher. Tell me things about physics. Tell me things about chemistry. Then I get to listen to them. I don't interject. Then they feel like, okay, this teacher is listening to us. I make them feel like, oh, you're worth more than just being a student that sits in my classroom and that kind of thing. So that's kind of developed the whole thing. Then I'm handing a little bit. So if it is cabin biscuits I'm going to buy and share with them, they feel connected. So that's part of the way you can instill the values in them. These are practical ways. They are not like theoretical ways. Okay. Then the next one is ask, plan, and share with your learners. I have till date. Or let me quickly say, concerning being a friend, I have one of my students who I taught a jam last 4 or 5 years ago. He's now out of school, but after I taught him in class, we would meet and I would say, guy, I think you know about Adobe Premiere Pro, you know about Adobe Photoshop. Well, yeah, teach me. You are now my teacher. I'm your student. That kind of thing. And I made him feel like, okay, I'm going to ask you things. So I'm connecting the whole dots, like ask, plan, and share with them. Ask what they can do, help them plan better. Then at the same time, become their learners as well. Let them teach you. Okay, that kinds of build the bond between the teacher and the student, and they kind of see to it that, okay, you are actually communicating, you are emitting a life, because I don't know if that sounds figurative or literal. You are emitting a life to them, like a culture, and that culture is the leadership sensibility to them. So then the next one is be a disciplined person. So this is part of the ways you can instill essential values to them. Be a disciplined person, not a disciplinarian. So yeah, I don't know, for those of us that might have seen me in person or seen my picture, I look very young, and I understand the sensibilities, young girls, young boys, this, that, and that. They may want to start having crush on their teachers and all of that, but you need to show them that you're a disciplined person. They need to be able to see to it that you are morally upright, that kind of thing. Not just being a disciplinarian, you want to flog them, that kind of thing. No, you're not going to instill any values in students by flogging them. I don't spare the rod, no, they know. But I don't go to any of my classes whenever I teach. I don't go with cane. No. I should be able to communicate an integrity of who I am to you, not just by holding cane. If you fear me because I hold cane, that means I've even failed in the first place. To communicate to you that I am a leader. I want to take domination of this space. Okay? And not just by flogging you. Like I tell them, you are my friends, and I don't want you to behave like goats. You get now? So there's a way we communicate these things. Then last but not the least, be teachable and approachable. Just as I've said, my students are my teachers. I won't lie to you. If I know physics today, it's because I listen to my teachers, my student teachers, kind of. Okay, I'm approachable to them. They're not scared to tell me that, oh sir, you offended me the other time. Oh, like I don't like how you kind of jab me in the front of the whole class, this and that. So that kind of being approachable, and I make them, if they are feeling overboard, I make them, why shouldn't I be able to correct you in the front of the class, this and that. But that being approachability is just there. They don't feel too comfortable, but at the same time they feel like, oh, this is my friend, let me tell him. And at the same time, this is my teacher, he's a leader, I should ask for his opinion. So these are like the strategies I have, that I have personally made use of in the classroom. My students, I'm a young teacher, but I've been privileged to teach students who have gone further into university, and they're done with school, and we come back. Like one of them just graduated, and I said, oh guy, when you graduate, come over. I'm taking you on a pizza kind of stuff. It's not going to cost 10K, 15K. By God's grace, it's not that money that will save us for the whole year. And it's kind of build a bond, like, oh, this is a teacher extraordinarily, or how did they pronounce that word? I don't know. Okay, so let's have interactive section. Precious, thank you so much. This is my presentation. So let's get to hear from you.
Okay, so I was going to ask. You mentioned, you said you're going to come back and touch one by one. You mentioned some core values that teachers should have. You mentioned self-awareness, focus, integrity, and a few others. So let's assume, okay, or should I say, yeah, let's assume a teacher has these qualities, or already embodies these qualities. How do they promote these values, in their educational practice? How do they show that I have this thing and they want to share with their students? Then, while embodying these core values, in their educational practice, how do they show that I have this thing and they want to share with their students? Then, while embodying these core values, how, like you already mentioned that you don't want your students to see you as a poor teacher, and become discouraged, or have interest in teaching. So what self-developmental skills can teachers also inculcate to grow and at least have something aside teaching? I think we did something similar to this last week. I'm just asking based on what we learned today again.
Well, in terms of inspiring them to become teachers in the nearest future and all that, first, let them know why do they want to become teachers. Because teaching has to do with I think I discovered my flair for teaching, say, after secondary school, kind of. I was very good with drawing in school. I wanted to pursue, what was it, creative art in school. But God having his way, I just said, no, I would love to go into teaching and all that. So I personally love it. It's something I can stand for hours. I mean, marathon hours, days, teach it. Yep, I love it. I love it. And I'm very good at what I do. So, but now to inspire others, so they need to love it as well. Then the next thing is, I let them know that I'm multifaceted. I'm actually skilled beyond teaching. For instance, personally, I'm into editing as well, not just what's it called, all these gig jobs and editing write-ups and all that. No, video editing and all that. So the graphics, I'm not like a class editor, no, but just basics here and there, and they're kind of monetized. So personally, I'm not trying to delve into maybe working with Lagos State now and all of that, and everything literature or whatever it may be. So I don't know if I've addressed your question, please.
Yes, yes, you have, sir. Okay, so I can see Mrs. Comfort dropped a contribution in the chat box. She said humility and integrity are poles apart. I think that was when you mentioned that you could put humility under integrity, that integrity covers it. So I think she dropped that contribution. Then I don't know if you saw it. So do you have something to say to that, sir?
Okay, yeah. Well, I felt like I was just trying to include some other stuff that I might have not mentioned in terms of the core values. Yeah, humility and integrity definitely pose a part, but humility plays a very strong role as well as a core value, and I don't know where I can put them. I'll put humility rather under the six. So maybe we should just put it separately on its own. But humility goes a long way, because if you need to be humble in order to be teachable. So that's just the simple truth about it. Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir. And please, before I go on with my questions, if you also have questions, please raise your hand so that okay, Mrs. Comfort says allow them be part of the decision. I'm coming. Allow them be part of the decision making in the class. It gives them a sense of belonging.
I can't agree less with this, because when you allow them to be part of the decision making in terms of what style of teaching method would they prefer, would they want it to be this, sometimes we may think the way we are creative is what they would love, whereas that is not what they really want yet now. So let them be part of the decision making. Okay. You just understand what it means to be a facilitator, so that the whole thing doesn't go out of hand, because some of the students, they can be overbearing and all that. So Mrs. CJ has a hand.
Yeah, you can go ahead with your contribution. You can go ahead, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone, once again.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yes, thank you for the wonderful presentation. I just wanted to add that part of what we can do for our students is to enable them, to encourage them to own their learning. So, as a leader, you should be able to encourage your students to be autonomous in their learning. That is when they can now spread their wings and do things on their own. And of course, when they do things on their own, they become better at whatever it is they are doing. So if we can allow our students to own their learning, part of the values of a leader, you don't want to say you know everything, you want to do everything. You should have the sense of allowing them to explore, allowing them to, have a grip of what it is you want them to. Your own is just to channel their energy to what you want them to do. So, as a leader, you should be able to allow the led to have a measure of initiative. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. I think I remember during one of our teaching sessions that our facilitator then she mentioned dividing our students into groups,
Thank
assigning
you.
leaders for the groups and
I hope you heard
making
me.
them. Yes, I did, ma'am. I,
Oh
I
my
did. I
goodness.
heard you.
Hello.
Hello, ma'am. I can hear you. Can you check if you're muted? No, you're not muted. I
Okay.
can hear you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
All
So I was
right.
saying I
All
remembered
right.
one of our sessions. Yes, that's. I think it was Mrs. Ade doing that took the session, and she mentioned like the creativity part, making the students develop ideas for literature, making videos on their own and stuff. So I think it also helps build them in a way. Thank you very much for that contribution, man. My final question, okay, not final question, to Mr. Olamide. From your own perspective, what do you think are non-negotiable qualities, skills, and attributes of a successful teacher? What do you think are skills that are non-negotiable for a successful teacher? That's my question, sir.
Non-negotiable skills, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
We have a lot of them, but like, how many are you trying to box me into? Like top three or top five? Let me know which one.
Okay. Top five. From your perspective, what do you think are non-negotiable skills, qualities that a teacher should have?
Skills, not values now, right?
Yeah, skills, qualities, values. You can put them together.
I mean, because number one, right now, a teacher in, I think we've addressed it in one of our previous TBDs. One of the top skills right now is to be tech savvy, like digitally inclined. You get now, because it goes a long way in communicating to these students that you you understand their sensibilities. You get now, so that's one. uh, if you don't understand, you're not awful tech savvy, let them teach you. You get now, but discover some certain things on your own as well. So that's one. Number two, how do I put it in top five? I feel like number two has to do with being creative in the teaching style. Like, teaching can be boring to the student, like just sit down from 8 till 12, apart from their break time, and they just notice that it's still the same way the teachers taught in 1980s, that you still want to come inside. Just it's kind of boring. But when you are creative around it, they anticipate for your class. It doesn't look to them as if they are sitting down or they are wasting time anymore. They will be actively involved. So that kind of thing. So creativity in terms of how you deliver your class really matters a lot. For instance, when I teach literature, sometimes I take my students out of the classroom. I don't teach it. I tell them that literature is best taught beyond the classroom. It's not something you can confine within the four walls of the classroom, that kind of thing. So, and yep. So that's being creative around it. Number 3 to 4, 5. I don't know. Others can contribute to it.
Just give me one more. Just one more.
Okay, Mrs. Adenuga is saying mastery of content, class control. Yep. Class control. Yeah, big time. I personally, I hate it when I pass by and I notice that a teacher is in a class and the class is rowdy. Like, you are a teacher, you are in the class, and the class is still rowdy, noisy. No, if it's going to be noisy, let us hear that, oh, nice one, and everybody keeps quiet. Not, well, no. I love it when there's class control. Yeah, thank you so much, Ms. Adenuga.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Final question. How can teachers facilitate constructive communication and collaboration between parents, students, and educators.
Ah, okay, great. Personally, number one, as a teacher, when I was getting into the teaching profession, right from time, I already vowed it's one of my core values. I don't use it, even in my communication normally. Talk less of to my students. I don't use words such as stupid, mad, crazy, foolish, that kind of thing. I don't use it. Okay? I don't know how bad the student may be, but I don't use it. I don't personally use it. It's just my own personal stuff. I don't like telling someone that you are mad. It sounds so heavy in my mouth. Okay? So between student teachers and all that. So one of the best ways is some of these parents, they want a teacher who is emotionally intelligent. That is one of the things I've noticed. Okay? Whereby some of the issues some of those students are facing as their own children, they are not oblivious to it, but they just want you as a teacher to empathize with them, like show them that, these things happen, this student can be stubborn that way, but collectively we can still work out something. It gives them a signal that no, even if they have given up as parents, I think some of them will still come to my office and complain this and that. I'll be like, this is not a school matter kind of thing. Why is this woman telling me? It's just within me. But they just want you to empathize with them. So it's part of those things. Communication, you being able to show empathy and all that. I don't know. Am I answering the question, Precious?
Yes, you are, sir. Mrs. Comfort, do you also have something to say? Okay, I don't think she heard me.
Sorry, sorry. What
Did you
did
have
you
something to
address
say?
me, Precious?
Yes, I did, ma'am. Your hand is raised.
Oh, oh, sorry. It must have been an error. Anyway, what Olamide said is quite right because as teachers, we are also
I really can't hear Miss CJ. Her line is breaking. Or am I the one?
Yes, the line is breaking, but I'm waiting for her to come back.
as local parentis. That is for the period when the students are in school between the hours of 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. We act as their parents to put ourselves. I told my students, even on their Can you hear me now?
Yes, I
Hear
can
me
hear
now?
you now. Yes, ma'am.
Hello? Hello, can
Yes,
you hear
ma'am.
me?
I can hear you. Yes.
Hello?
Hello, ma'am. I can hear you.
Okay. I was okay. I was only saying that we are parents in school. Yes, okay. I was saying that we are parents in school to these students. So whatever it is we will do to our own biological children is what we should do to them because they have their own rights as human beings. So we shouldn't treat them as if, okay, they are students, we can ride roughshod over them. No. We give them the same measure of affection we'll give our own biological children or our wards. And with that, you'll see that when we draw them closer, thank you.
Like
Thank you very
so
much.
much. Thank you so much, Madam CJ. That's what affection. You communicate the same way you would do to your children. I know it can be quite difficult, but that goes a long way to changing them. One of the stories that usually come to my mind every now and then is the story of someone like Ben Carson. You get now, whose teacher,
Okay.
sent a wrong note and the mother had to pick it up. So that means the teacher has failed in being the right leader. Thank God for the mother of Ben Carson, who was able to pick it up and say, oh, my child is not this. Because even when, for instance, I grade my students and some of them will get like 4/20 and they will be crying in front of me. But I'll tell them, hey, do you know, why are you crying? This score is not who you are. It just shows that, oh, you have some work to do. So there's a better way we can always communicate to these children than making them feel like they are failures. So even when parents come around and they make it look at, I let them know, no. If your child gets 4, yes, I will not say because I want the child to be happy, I will give extra score. No. Do you get what I'm saying now? But it has to be properly communicated.
Yes.
Communication is very important. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We are way past time, and I can see Mr. Duniga also has a question, but I don't think we'll be able to take it.
No. Let me just quickly address it without sounding bossy. Number one thing is, please don't correct your colleagues doing such in the presence of the student. Okay? Then nobody wants to feel like, oh, you're correcting them in the presence of their learners. No. Possibly when you have a good time with them, that good time, maximize it. And you know, all these children, we are like pastors over them. Oh, like what we say sometimes, that is so. Maybe you can, instead of it, why not use this? Say, I'm a brukushi lomoyend. After is a bad. No, the more you are saying it, the more you are prophesying something. So, if the person is that kind of, gradually, you may not say it once and the person will change, but just always bring it in a jovial manner, and before you know it, but you yourself, you must be the role model in the first place. Don't let them catch you for once doing that. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Tonight's session was very impactful. In fact, it was very inspiring too, and I think a lot of questions were addressed. But if we still have more questions, we can address them on the group. Mr. Olamide is going to be there too to take our questions. Thank you for joining us for this evening session. And I won't be able to go through our weekly activities, but I would address it on the group as well, on the EL Network group. So EL Network is, it's an EdTech organization, and they're dedicated to developing and enhancing learning, creativity, and innovation. And this is one of the activities we have for the week, theme-based discussions anchored by fellow teachers. And today's session, like you have witnessed, was very inspiring. Tune in with us next week. I think Mr. Olamide already mentioned at the beginning of the session that it's going to be a series. This theme is going to be a series. I don't know when it's going to end, but you can join us again for the next one.
And
Thank you very much.
Precious, quickly, I would just like to add, for those of us that have joined, if you have a teacher, an inspiring teacher that you would like us to invite, please do well to reach out to me. It's not like this program is not for some set of people. It's for every teacher out there to have their voice heard.
Sure. Okay. Thank you very much, sir. So for more inspiring content like this, because not everything is in audio and video formats, we have written content too. So you can check our website at www.everythingliterature.net. You can connect with us on Instagram and Facebook as Everything Literature to check more inspiring, educative, and informative posts. Thank you for joining in tonight. My name is Precious Olawale, and it was nice having everyone here tonight. Have a lovely evening, everyone.
Thank you. Good night. Thank you, Mr. Daniel. I can see you. You're joining in very late. Don't worry, we're not going to find you yet.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's fine. I hope you.
Sorry, but I learned. I do learn.
I hope you're doing fine, right?
Yeah, I am. Trust you all too.
Yeah, definitely. Let's go. Okay, we get to catch up, Mr. Arora.
Thank you for inspiring us again.
Yeah, Madam CJ. Thank you. Yeah, Precious, you were saying something.
I was saying the call is about to end.
Sorry. Don't mind me. When I see my people, I just want to reach out for them.
Yeah, good night, everyone.